Hi, everyone. This is Darcy with Preserving My Sanity this afternoon. I'm excited today. We've got a guest with us here. Mindy Huebner is a Life on Purpose coach who works with um, women entrepreneurs to help them align their mind, body, and soul. So today, she's actually going to talk with us today about how our food can actually affect our mental state and how it's important to eat healthy and everything, and how all of that ties into the rest of how we feel. So we're excited that Mindy's here with us today, and I'm going to let her start talking with you guys.
Thank you so much for having me here, Darcy. I really appreciate it. And hello. Yes, I'm Mindy Huebner. I'm a Life on Purpose coach. And in that prioritization of body, mind, and soul for female entrepreneurs, that's how I help you make more money, make a greater impact, because energy is totally our currency. Think about all the places where energy gets stolen from us, where we feel drained, tired, brain fog, unproductive, all that. Energy starts in a lot of places, but today we're going to talk about food and also how that affects us mentally, physically, emotionally, all that good kind of stuff. And really, the first thing I want to say is with all my private clients and I never say like food is good or bad. Food gives you energy or it takes it away. And so you get to decide, really, because healthy, not healthy, like some things are some things I like and you don't, some things I can eat and you can't, like some people call dairy healthy and I can't really have dairy, so it's not very healthy for me, right? Kind of a thing. So it's really about being a detective and getting really curious about what food gives you energy and what food takes it away. And, there's some standards, right, that we know. Also for our mental health, staying away from foods that cause stress and that can add to stress and depression, that can add to inflammation, because all of that, and we are affected by all of that. So some of the big ones, like we can talk about what we get to eat. It's real simple to kind of make a list of these are the things that are proven to cause inflammation, to contribute to stress, to contribute to dehydration, which is just disastrous for our mental state as well. And so if we're going to have carbs, because carbs aren't the enemy, we need carbs for our brain. Like it's really important to have carbs. Choosing a complex carb over a simple carb, complex carb like a starchy vegetable like sweet potatoes or beets or quinoa, like brown rice, over a simple carb like sugar, candy, that kind of thing. We know that our energy levels are going to change with that, as well as our mental state, like our focus from that. Because when we do the blood sugar roller coaster of sugar, I'm going to have a coffee and donut for breakfast, as opposed to I'm going to have an egg and maybe some sauteed veggies and, little avocado. Like I'm gonna have something a little more, what I like to call a magic plate. We go on the blood sugar roller coaster and then we go up and up and then we crash, right? Have you ever felt that? Like, we've all done it to ourselves, right? Sometimes, and we don't necessarily do it on purpose. We think, oh, I'll just, live on this coffee. And then, oh, it's 3:00 in the afternoon and we hit that slump. And we go for some simple sugar right away. I mean, it is just kind of it's a habit that we can get into. So sugar and processed foods, like if we're really talking about what gives me energy, what takes it away, pretty much if it's in a box and processed and has a list of ingredients, 30 words long, it's probably going to take energy away, but you get to get curious about that and experiment with it. Those also can lead to inflammation, like lots of processed foods can lead to inflammation, which can in turn cause stress and depression. So you can see the link here between what we eat and how we feel, right? And how we feel mentally as well. Lean proteins are so good for us, our mental state as well. Healthy fats. So fat's not the enemy either. So if If you're doing low fat, no fat, I'm going to lovingly encourage you to quit it. Because like you need carbs for your brain, you need fat for your brain too. It's vital. Your brain is fat. So it's vital. And when they take fat out of something, so if we're doing a low fat or a no fat thing and they take fat out, they always put something else in. They always put something else in, and it's not better. Whatever they're putting in is not better. Yeah, exactly. Lots of times it's sugar because fat tastes good. And so when they take the fat out, they need to put something in so that it continues to taste good to our palate, right? Fish like omega-3s, that type of fatty fish like salmon, so good for your brain, for your mental state, as well as nuts, flax seeds. So any of those, and I'm sure I didn't say berries, and berries are really good for us too, because they're another anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. And so super good for our brain power. So if you're like feeling brain fog, unfocused, unproductive, lethargic, that kind of a thing, there's lots of places to check, but check your nutrients and see how what are you consuming on a regular basis? And the other piece of that, really, the energy as well is about who we're being as we're consuming. And so if you're sitting down to eat a meal and you're completely stressed out, your digestive system is off or very low functioning. And so as you eat in that stressed out state, which is a mental state, right? But it also becomes a physical state because every thought we think permeates every cell in our body. And so when we eat in that super stressed out state like that, if our digestion is working, it's working at a very minimal capacity, and the food that we're eating is not giving us the nutrients that we need. And so go ahead.
And if when we're stressed out, are we more likely to eat more too?
Absolutely. We're likely to eat more. We're likely, when we're stressed out, we're likely to grab for food that is not high nutrient, does not give us energy. But just sitting and taking like a moment to check in, just taking a big deep breath on a scale of 1 to 10, like, where am I? And if I'm at a 6 or a 7, okay, well, what can I do to come back down to relax a little bit to eat? Because we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, and the sympathetic is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. We've got the rest and digest, and then we've got the fight or flight going on. And so we want to be in the rest and digest state when we're eating as often as we can be, actually, because the chronic stress state, low stress state like that, that was really good for us when we were running from tigers, right? when we needed to be hunter gatherers and be on high alert, that kind of a thing. But now our body doesn't know the difference between when we put ourselves in that high stress state, between I'm running out the door late for work or I'm being chased by a tiger, because it's the same thing that kicks in.
Sure.
And so it's sending the same chemicals and messages, not only, to our stomach for digestion or stopping digestion, but to our brain as well, period. And so we talked about how to eat, things that we can eat to keep a healthy mental state. Dark leafy greens as well, really, really good for us. It's also hydration is huge for a healthy mental state. And lots of us are home right now, so I don't want to hear any excuses about when I drink water all the time, I have to go to the bathroom. Great, you got one right by you. There's no reason that you can't be consuming extra water right now and creating it to be a habit, because that also helps our mental state. So hydration is huge for us, for brain fog, for stress, for productivity, period. I think about the dried up sponge on the edge of your sink. So that's what your brain looks like when you don't hydrate it. So how do you think your decision-making process is then? How productive do you think you are when when we're not
Like a
hydrated.
dried up sponge.
Yeah, exactly, right? And not only that, like hydration or dehydration causes stress on our body. Stress causes dehydration. Like it's just this battle that goes on. And that, of course, stress and dehydration, they affect us mentally. And so just some simple things that we can do, right? Drink water, drink more water. If you don't like drinking water, I say this with so much love, get over it and drink some water.
Right.
Put a little mint in there, put some lemon, put some lime. It seriously is like the fount of life for you, internally and externally, because it helps our whole system work, our lungs function, like everything, our joints. Water really is a miracle for us. And so learning how to consume it optimally is really a gift that we can give ourselves. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, it's interesting as you talk about all of these different things that we're supposed to eat and drink that help us, help our brain and our body. Because it's a lot of the same things that we're supposed to be doing right now to protect our immune system as well, which I've been doing a lot of research on. We've been eating a lot of kale in our house. I've been drinking a lot of hot tea. I actually don't like hot tea, but I've been drinking like 4 or 5 cups of it a day. It's actually kind of growing on me, but it's interesting because I think, especially right now, while we're talking during this time, a lot of these things that can reduce stress and help your mental state are also things they're recommending for, protecting our bodies from the illness. So,
well, exactly, because stress, then what does that do to our body? It lowers our immunity, right? I mean, and so if we're the other thing about being stressed out, about lowering immunity, another tool that we can use is managing our mental state, even if it's not with food. So if we're feeling stressed out, what are some things that we know relax us, that we can do, non-food things? Because some people be like, well, a chocolate bar relaxes me, right? And I'm not saying, and I'm not saying that those things can't be relaxers, but they're not a strategy, right? They're a sometimes, like, I heard this quote, I thought it was amazing, like chocolate tastes so much better when you don't need it. And I was like, right? Because you're totally enjoying it when it's not like, I'm completely stressed out, I need chocolate, or I'm completely stressed out, I need, and since we're talking about stress, and this has nothing to do with food, but everything to do with, again, who we're being, we're always winning the game that we're playing, period. And so if we're saying, I'm stressed out, I don't like water, whatever it is, if that's what we're constantly saying, we're winning that game, because our thoughts create our feelings and emotions. That creates our beliefs. That creates our actions, which create our reality. So we absolutely create our reality, and it starts in our thoughts, and we're always winning. So look around and see what's going on during this time, but during any time, if we're tired all the time, if we're stressed out all the time, what are we saying? What kind of activities are we participating in or not participating in? How are we finding energy for ourselves? Or are we just doing things that's stealing the energy? And of course, food is a big one for that, but thoughts that steal our energy, or thoughts that give us energy, people, activities. I mean, we get to check all those things on the list too, right along with food, to keep a good, healthy mental state.
I actually didn't really say hello to the people that are watching and give you guys a chance to ask any questions in the comments. But if anybody watching has any questions, feel free to put them in the comments for us. But one thing I just thought of is, as you're talking about non-food ways that we can help our mental state, what types of things would you recommend people do if they don't have something that they do, to relax themselves and calm down and relieve stress? What would you recommend or suggest?
Yeah, breathe. And I'm not joking. Like, there's so many times that we are just taking these little shallow breaths and we don't even realize until we like stop and take this giant, like right now, feel free to take the deepest breath you've taken all day. And for some people, that's going to be like this huge eye opener because they haven't taken a big, giant, deep breath yet, you know? So I breathe, period, like check your breath, but I love a 5-5-7 breath. So it's in through the nose for a count of 5. It's hold at the top for a count of 5, and it's out through the mouth for 7. And if you do that in a cycle of 3, your heart rate will go down. Like you literally will come down from wherever you are. And so that's an amazing tool to just breathe. Getting outside, I'm sitting across from my window, like from a big window. So I just looked outside when I said that getting outside and grounding with the energy of the earth is an amazing way to relax as well. And this is going to sound really hippy dippy, and I don't care. If you can get outside barefoot and like put your feet on the grass, on the dirt, on the earth, and just stand there and take it in for a few minutes, the earth will ground you. It will relieve some of that stress from you. It's just amazing. Nature, being in nature is a stress reducer. So wherever you can get in nature, to sit by water, to, you know, in a forest, in a wherever, I don't know where people, you know, if they're in cities or where they are, but there's usually a little slice of nature somewhere. And so getting there is a huge stress reducer as well. Getting enough sleep. Like, honestly, we tend to think, oh, I can get by. But during sleep is when our body regenerates. Like, all momentum ceases and our brain starts to heal and our body starts to heal from all the things that we've done to it all day and all the things that we've expected from it. And so lots of stress comes from the fact that we don't rest enough. And so some people might, we think about our morning routine, like what time we get up. Let's back that up to what time are you going to bed? You know, and what are we doing before we go to sleep to wind down to be able to go to bed? Because our devices also cause stress. If right now during this time we are doing the scroll and the deep dive into social media, that is not healthy for us either. That can really, take a turn.
Especially right before bedtime. I have a really bad habit of that.
The blue light really does like mess with you. You know what I mean? It makes it hard to power down. And so if getting more rest is something that you'd like to try, and I love that word try. So this totally cracks me up. I heard the best thing, like, try to pick up a pen. You can't try. You either do it or you don't. Like, how do you try to pick up a pen? Right? Like, what does that mean? Try. So if you would like to try on going to bed, earlier kind of thing, getting more rest, powering down, they say an hour to 2 hours, like statistically, it's an hour to 2 hours with no social media. But even as you're laying in bed, closing your eyes and visualizing your body literally powering down like a battery losing its juice, so just seeing like everything just kind of coming down. And if you're a super visual person, then you can literally visualize that, visualize a battery like that. If you are very auditory, then you can hear it. You can hear like the you can pull all your senses into it, get your whole body into it that way. And if you're super kinesthetic, if you're like a touch, then you can imagine that, feeling the energy drain from you, and not drain in a bad way, but like that frenetic energy, like just leaving your body, and in its place, then it's just leaving calm. It's just leaving relaxing sort of feelings and thoughts. And those are some great ways to just really de-stress and to try it on if that's not something that you normally do. I'm a huge fan of meditation. You can meditate silently. You can do guided meditation. There are free apps that you can use, Calm, Insight Timer. Those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head, where you have access to some of the meditations on there. You can go on YouTube right now and Google a meditation and find a bazillion meditations to reduce stress, kind of a thing. And so that's just one more tool along with what you're consuming, along with what you're eating, to help, stay healthy all the time, not just right now, but right now more than ever, like you said, right, Darcy, right now more than ever, we want to be taking care of
Absolutely.
ourselves mentally too.
Yeah. I think those are all really great tips. I've actually recently started doing some meditation and trying to do yoga a little bit more regularly too, which helps me. So, yeah, those are all really good tips.
Moving your
Really
body.
can't hide in my bare feet yet because we actually got 4 inches of snow just the other day and it's not melted all the way, but maybe I can do that soon.
Well, it's definitely worth trying on, like when we try on a new shirt or something like that, right? Trying it on. And moving your body is an amazing way to reduce stress. Yes, exercise, like intentional exercise is really good for us. But if already some people are like, oh, I'm out, no exercise for me, just movement is huge. That we call it NEAT, non-exercise. It's non-exercise movement, right? And so walking,
Getting up from your
stretching.
desk at least once an hour.
Oh my
if
God.
possible.
Yeah, for sure. But yoga is an amazing way because, again, you can go right on YouTube and Google yoga for beginners and have some great, super simple stretches. And the beauty of it is there's no, like, for all of you saying, I'm not flexible. Like, well, no, because you haven't practiced. That's okay.
Right.
I'm not flexible either. And I've been doing yoga for years.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter because you can see YouTube, but YouTube can't see you. So
Exactly. Exactly. Like we're all in this together, right? And so just doing whatever we can to keep that mental state, to keep that serotonin and dopamine going. And so however you can set yourself up for success is really a gift to yourself. So those little micro habits that create the macro habit of drinking water, of choosing fruits and vegetables more often than choosing something that gives you, that steals your energy away, that kind of a thing. So thinking about those things, how you get to set yourself up for success is really like A+ for your mental state.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? Anybody that's watching? And otherwise, I guess if we're about done, Mindy, if you wanted to just share with everybody how they might be able to reach you in the easiest way if they have any follow-up questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can, I'm on Facebook, Mindy Huebner, Life on Purpose Coach, as well as you can find my website, mindyhuebner.com. And I do, part of keeping that healthy mental state, right, is meditation. And so I do have a free mental rehearsal where you just set yourself up for success. So it's just practicing out your day in the best way that you can before it gets started. And that's a free guided downloadable meditation that I have as a gift as well. And you can find that right at mindyhuebner.com too.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for inviting me here today. It was lovely.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Good. You guys have a great day.
All right, you take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.